Ariel Castro, the prime suspect in the case of the 3 women that were held captive in Cleveland, Ohio, apparently left a suicide note back in 2004. Now, obviously, he didn't commit suicide. I don't know why he didn't go through with it. Not saying that he should have gone through with it. But in the suicide note, he admitted that he was a sexual predator. In fact, let's go to his exact quote. He said, "I am a sexual predator. I need help." And at one point, he said that his parents had abused him and that his uncle had raped him. Now, there was a local reporter by the name of Scott Taylor who investigated this story, and he's the person who found the suicide note, and he also tweeted about it. According to his tweet, he says, Castro writes, "They are here against their will because they made a mistake of getting in a car with a total stranger."
So if you had any inkling of sympathy for him, if you believe him that his uncle raped him, etc., he immediately loses by saying, "Oh, they had it coming. They shouldn't have gotten in a car with a stranger. That's why I kidnapped him and raped him for 10 straight years." And then he tries to get it back, at least in his own mind, because of course none of this is public at the time. And he says, well, if I die, well, then all my money should go to the 3 victims. Whoop-de-doo. Yeah. I mean, like, how much money do you have? $30? And what is it? I mean, even if you had all the money in the world, that isn't going to make up for it. Here's how you could make it up to them: by letting them go.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely. It's despicable. But another thing I take away from this story is, a lot of times when it comes to rape, it's a vicious cycle. A lot of people who do rape have been abused themselves, which is why it's so important to invest money in mental health programs and rape prevention programs. So people who have been abused have some place to go to get mental help.
I understand that. The sequester says that only the FAA matters, and the senators have to get to their flights on time, but stuff like that's going to get cut.
Yeah.
So because that's not really that important, right?
Not important at all.
Yeah, and when it comes to Ariel Castro, it's interesting because as I read that, I think he wanted to get caught back in 2004.
Yeah, so he wrote that suicide note back in 2004. And around the same time, he had left a child on a bus unattended. And that was when cops had shown up to his home. They knocked on the door, but no one answered, so they just left. So I think that, your hypothesis on this might have some legitimacy because he was, obviously getting messy. He wrote the suicide note, which means he was giving up.
Yeah. No, look, that's what made me angry about the cops. When the story initially broke, I was like, look, let's find out what happened and didn't happen. When did the cops go to investigate the naked girl in the yard and the screaming, etc.? And you don't know. But now the more evidence is coming in and you see that it looks like this guy wanted to get caught and the cops show up. As reports of a naked lady screaming in the backyard, etc., they don't even go inside the house. Do your job. Do your job. If you'd just gone in, oh, well, you might need a warrant. Oh, my God, you'd have to do paperwork on that. And so it looks like he was trying to help you in catching him because he felt guilty about it, apparently, at least guilty enough to write the note, etc. And they didn't do it. They didn't investigate. I mean, imagine if they find him in 2004. That's, 9 years of hell that they went through after that, right?
I know.
And then the one girl, her mom would have been alive if she got out in 2004. Her mom died in 2006.
Amanda Berry's mother died, 3 years after she was kidnapped. And that part of the story always makes me extremely emotional just because I think about my relationship with my mom and I can't imagine not being able to say goodbye to her. And, by the way, just a quick twist to this story. Sylvia Browne, who is a very famous, I don't know, witch doctor.
Witch doctor, I like that. A voodoo practitioner. She has dolls.
Yes. She was on the Montel Williams show, and on that same episode, Amanda Berry's mother was there, and she asked Sylvia Browne, is my daughter alive? And Sylvia Browne told her, no, your daughter's dead.
That's why, look, these psychics are despicable. And when she's called out on it now, apparently she's a semi-famous psychic because she's been on TV a couple of times. I mean, she was on the Montel Williams show.
She was on Oprah a few times too.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, see, Oprah, what are you doing? Come on, right? So she said, her response was, well, only God gets it right 100% of the time.
Right.
So thank God I was wrong on this one, but I have a success rate of 87 to 90%. Okay, oh, so that's interesting. So they did a study on this, people who are in the business of debunking folks like her, and they determined that her success rate in reality was 0%.
Now, to be fair, I'm not really believing that. They're in the business of debunking, so they're going to go ahead and say 0%. I'm sure that by coincidence she was right at least a few times. But I don't believe psychics at all. I think it's crazy, and it does annoy me that these daytime shows like pander to idiots by having people like psychics on.
No, I hear you on that. Look, they probably had a very stringent standard for, whether she was right or not. Mm-hmm. But by any standard, if you get to 0%, you're not doing that well, right? And so don't ever believe these people. And they play with your emotions, and they make money by playing with your emotions when you're the most vulnerable. Mm-hmm. So it's really kind of a sick business.
Yeah, I mean, I could do psychic work right now. Like, I'm guessing there are children in your life, right? And if you don't have your own children, you'll be like, yes, I'm an uncle. Tell me more about my nieces and nephews. Right. You know what I mean? It always works that way.
Oftentimes they do it about the dead, and so by definition, you don't know what's happening with the dead, so they can make up anything they like.
Yeah.
Oh, they're in a good place. They are. I mean, that's the emotional, I don't want to say porn, but like.
It is emotional porn, though. Yeah. Which is why people like to watch it on the daytime shows.
Yeah, when they put it on TV, it becomes emotional porn. Oh, okay. Oh, and did you have a dog? Oh, I did. Yeah, a lot of people have dogs, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, the dog is with her, right? And then they go, oh my God, that makes so much sense. She loved the dog, right? I mean, this is Psychic 101, and it's total horse crap. I mean, I hope she is with the dog, but don't take the psychic's word for it.